Howdy folks, today I got an easy to make, low waste, mysterious tiki syrup to show you. It's called Fassionola Syrup. It's delicious. Let's go. So the story goes like this. I was watching my friend Anne's YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below. And Anne, who is way into tiki drinks, was making a drink with Fassionola syrup, which I had heard of, but I had sort of forgotten about. She was using store-bought Fassionola syrup, but I thought to myself, I bet that wouldn't be too hard to make. So I did a little bit of research. I found a pretty good article on Cocktail Wonk, which I will link to below. Basically, Fassionola syrup is like a sort of tropical fruit punch that you make into a syrup. It used to be called for it in a number of tiki drinks, but over the years it's sort of stopped being produced as much and sort of fallen by the wayside. So much so that no one's really even sure what goes in it. But it does pop up in the Minimalist Tiki book. If you haven't got that and you like tiki, you should definitely buy the Minimalist Tiki book. It's pretty good. Now, according to this Cocktail Wonk article, you can pretty much use whatever fruits, tropical or otherwise, that you want to in your Fassionola syrup. I did find that the passion fruit was a really good addition, and I think that you should definitely track down some passion fruit puree or some frozen passion fruit if you're gonna make this syrup. Now, if you couldn't find passion fruit of any kind, you could probably use like hibiscus. I've seen people use hibiscus as well. You want something that's gonna make it a little bit tart. Now, I'm gonna show you what I did, but of course, you want to keep in mind that you can swap out any of these ingredients. You could put lemon peel in it or lime hulls in there if you wanted to. You could use banana or mango. I've seen people use apples and tangerines. There's really literally no rules. Here's what I did. I had a few strawberries lying around in the fridge, so I threw those in. But also the raspberries and blueberries are starting to bloom, so I went out into the garden and I collected myself some raspberries and blueberries. I also bought a pineapple, so I could use half the pineapple in the syrup. A quick note on pineapples. You're gonna wanna peel the pineapple before you put it into this syrup, but save the peels because you can just cover those peels with sugar and make a pretty delicious pineapple syrup, to avoid waste. And if you don't want to make pineapple syrup right now, just throw them in the freezer. It'll be fine. Also, keep those fronds off the top of the pineapple. They make a pretty good garnish. Those also keep in the freezer really well. Also, I only used half this pineapple. The other half I juiced for my fresh versus canned pineapple taste test, which you can check out right here. So I'm gonna take all this fruit, minus the passion fruit. Don't put that in yet. We're gonna take the rest of the fruit, weigh it, and then we're gonna put on top of that an equal weight of sugar. Now, if you just let this sit overnight, say 24 hours, the sugar is gonna suck all the flavor and juice out of that fruit and make you a delicious syrup. Some people ask me if you need to put it in the fridge, and I never put it in the fridge. I just leave it out at room temperature overnight, and I've never had a problem with that, but it's totally fine. It'll still work if you put it in the fridge, so suit yourself. Now, the recipe I was following said after you have your syrup, then add passion fruit puree in a ratio of 4:1. So whatever the weight of the syrup, add a quarter of that weight in passion fruit. So I couldn't find passion fruit puree, but I did find these little passion fruit cubes. I think they're intended to be used in like a smoothie or whatever. I decided to weigh out a quarter of the weight and just throw those on top, let them sit overnight as well, because I was gonna have to defrost it anyway. And this yielded me about 1 liter of syrup. Now, for one more twist, this is a little bit more than I can probably use before it goes bad. So what I decided to do was I took half of it and I made a Fassionola Shrub. It's just the Fassionola syrup, but I added red wine vinegar to it. I had about 500 milliliters of syrup. I put in 250 milliliters of red wine vinegar. And that gave me about a 750 of shrub. And let me tell you, it's delicious. I've been making Fassionola sodas all week. Amazing. It's like a delicious Hawaiian punch, like a fruit punch, like a high C sort of thing. Brings you back to childhood. Amazing. In a final attempt not to waste any of this fruit, after I strained out the syrup, I had this sort of bag full of spent fruit. I put it in a jar for a couple of days, soaking in vodka. Actually used up the end of this bad bottle of tequila. You guys, this is bad tequila. Okay, don't drink this tequila. This is going on the fruit. And I put in the end of my Rain Nephew Overproof just to get rid of some bottles. It's a really, actually very delicious liqueur that you can just sip on or put on ice or even add to a margarita instead of orange liqueur. It would make a super delicious sort of tropical berry margarita, oh my God. And you can add a little bit of that liqueur back into the syrup to sort of fortify the syrup and keep it lasting a little bit longer in the fridge. Okay, so that is a lot of talking. You're wondering, how does it taste? Let me tell you, it's got a beautiful bright red color, which is amazing. It's thick. It's got such a nice tartness from the passion fruit. The passion fruit really is key. And otherwise, it's like a sort of tropical berry kind of thing. Yeah, oh my God. It's like the most delicious Hawaiian punch, high C tropical fruit punch you've ever had. So I hear you asking, what do I do with this syrup? There are a few really good options you can do with this. The obvious thing is just to make a daiquiri. Instead of using simple syrup in your daiquiri, put it in this fruit syrup, and you're gonna have an amazing berry flavored tropical daiquiri. You could use it in place of grenadine probably in a lot of things, and you could definitely use it in place of passion fruit syrup. You could definitely make a hurricane with this. I think the recipe for hurricane has passion fruit syrup and grenadine and simple syrup. You could probably take all that out and put in this Fassionola syrup. There's also a number of recipes in the Minimalist Tiki book that call for Fassionola. I did look in Smuggler's Cove, and weirdly they just don't use it at all. So I think what I'm gonna do is pull out a recipe for a tiki drink that I really like called the Port Light. It's actually whiskey, lemon, and passion fruit syrup. Now I'm gonna swap in the Fassionola for the passion fruit syrup. It should be delicious. So let's make one. We did it. We made it. What should we call this? I want to call it the Semaphore. Does that make sense? All right, I don't know. Obviously, getting some nice mint in your face is amazing. It's everything you like about a whiskey sour. It's sweet and tart. The whiskey just is so good in a tiki kind of a tropical drink. The mint in your face is really nice. And then these berries just sort of explode with flavor. It's really, really good. This is the sort of tropical drink I can really get behind. There'd be lots of ways to alter this drink too. You could obviously do it with rum, but you could maybe use, I don't know, coconut cream in here. You could use a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of cocoa liqueur maybe. Flernum comes up a lot when you see Fassionola syrup. Add a little bitterness. That sounds pretty good too. A little Fernet in there maybe. A lot of possibilities for using this Fassionola syrup. I really encourage you to make it. It's really a no rules kind of syrup. You can just do whatever suits you, although I do recommend putting the passion fruit in there. That really makes it delicious. But any kind of mixed berries, tropical fruits that you can find or enjoy, yeah, give it a whirl. All right, thanks for watching. I hope that was fun or informative. We will see you next time.